Hello everyone. Welcome to another video from the creator, Metaphysical Store. So, I thought that I should make a video about the Kitchen Witch. It's been a minute since we've done the Kitchen Witch, and I know that I have not done any of the Greek mythology pantheon in a while, and I will be getting one of those videos out today. But I wanted to give you some of my Kitchen Witch recipes, seeing as we are going into the fall, and this is a prime time where we face a lot of cold and flu symptoms. So, first off, this this is a honey recipe. The main ingredient is honey, and you can use this to what is okay. This particular recipe, say, for example, you want to use it in your cooking, right? Or if you wanted just the honey, you would need a cloth strainer. But let's just jump right into it. Okay, so for this recipe, before you even begin, make sure you pause this video and have a pen, a paper, like regular old paper like this should do, okay? Because you're going to want to definitely write down this information. That way you can put it into your Kitchen Witch grimoire. Okay, so this recipe is designed to not only banish and purify your home, yourself, of evil spirits, but it's also to do so prosperously. Okay. Now, the first thing you're going to need is what I would do is I take 1 stick of cinnamon and grind that up myself, even though it takes a lot of time. If you don't want to grind up the stick of cinnamon, you can definitely just take a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, and no, not a teaspoon, half a tablespoon of cinnamon powder, and that'll work just fine. You're gonna need 1 onion, and you're gonna need, if you're wanting to use it in cooking, and you definitely want to make sure it's diced, as diced as possible. You'll need 3 bulbs of garlic, because you're gonna use the whole garlic. And then you're gonna need 1 lemon. You can use a substitute of lime or anything citrus, but lemon or limes would be my main go-to for this one. Chopped fresh ginger, and then what you do is you chop that up into, I like to do cubes or strips, and I put those in, and you're going to need honey and a glass jar. Now, to kind of give you some understanding, lemons are very purifying, they're cleansing, and it's also, for the physical aspect, a good antibacterial. The garlic and the onions are really good at helping with the mucus and helping to break down phlegm. And the cinnamon is a good for your body as well. Now, for the next recipe, this is more of a coffee recipe. Now, you don't have to add the coffee if you're a tea drinker, you just would not add the coffee, okay? So you need, if you're making like 3 cups of coffee, you'd have, I would put in 3.5 cups of coffee grounds, then add 3 tea bags, if you prefer the tea bags or the fresh chamomile, 3 bags of chamomile tea, or what would be 1/2 cup of chamomile flowers, and putting those in. And then you would take 1 teaspoon. No, I mean not 1 teaspoon. 1 tablespoon. Got my measurements. One. One. Sorry, I just cannot talk today. 1.5 cups. Thank you. I mean, one not cups. God damn, I cannot talk today. 1.5 tablespoons. Finally, 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now you can add, or if you don't have cinnamon, you can add allspice, or you can put both, allspice and cinnamon. And then you would take a piece of ginger, and you would chop that fresh ginger up and put it in the pot. So as the water's coming down and the hot coffee is coming down, it is boiling. The heat is boiling the ginger. Now, I don't recommend a whole lot of ginger, so maybe like just a few pieces, like maybe like 3 pieces about this big, okay, like that big, okay. And this is a coffee recipe that not only the cinnamon and ginger really help with, helping with the immune system and all that. It's a prosperity and money coffee drink. So basically I've designed this to help me monetarily. And what I like to do is I add instead of sugar, I add honey or agave nectar, because bees and hummingbirds are get attracted to honey and nectar. So it's like, you're wanting to add in that attracting aspect. So honey and agave nectar are good ways to put in that attraction energy to attract money and wealth. And the cinnamon, even though it's a money herb, it's also a love herb. So if you're wanting to attract love, you can use the same recipe to attract love. And chamomile is used as a money herb, but I find it to be really good at bringing calmness and peace to you yourself. So those are some of those recipes. Now, this beef stew recipe is designed to not only cleanse and purify you, but also to bring in, to banish negativity, to protect you, as well as bring in the energies of wealth and love. Okay? And I know that's a lot, but stews are very versatile, and you don't have to do all of these herbs. This is just my recipe. So again, the intentions are wealth, love, cleansing and purification, banishing and protection. Okay? I think that's actually like 6 different aspects. But so what I do is I use the mineral water for when I cook. So if you don't got mineral water, you could use you could get some filtered water or something like that. To each their own. So you would need black peppercorn, sea salt, cilantro, sage, rose petals, herb de Providence, thyme, rosemary, parsley, oregano, garlic, onion, beef, carrots, bell peppers, and potatoes. And I think I said, if I didn't say bay leaves, okay? So now, the black peppers is used for banishment, while sea salt for me is used for cleansing. Cilantro I use for strength, while sage is also for cleansing. I use rose petals for love, and potatoes I always feel like potatoes can help you ground in whatever intention you're looking to put an intention towards. But also, potatoes I've always felt to be a money vegetable. Like I've used it for money spells, and it works phenomenal. Thyme is used to me, thyme is, I'm always addicted to thyme for some reason. I love thyme. And so thyme is it's connected to fairy lore. So if you do work with fairies, this is a great way for um, you to incorporate their blessing into that energy. But I use time to represent actual time, the hours of the day. And so if you're specifically making the stew for a specific day, like you could, I'm going to use myself as an example in this situation. So what I would do is I would make this recipe the week before the weekend, before the festival, and I'd actually eat that stew throughout the week, and to incorporate time, because I'm eating that up until the day of, when I'm trying to manifest money or love, or whatever it is I'm trying to do. Okay. Now, rosemary is both a love herb but also a protection herb. I like to prefer to call it a loving protection herb. Okay. Because Rose and the word Mary, Mother Mary, was very loving to her child. She embodies love. And Rose is, I feel like rosemary is just loving protection. Um, then I would add parsley for that love aspect, oregano for that money aspect, and then I would use garlic and onions for banishing and protection. And then I would also use beef. Now, you don't have to use beef. If you just want a vegetable soup, go ahead. What you would do is add broccoli or, let's see, broccoli, corn. You can add just a vegetable soup. Like, you don't have to have beef if you don't want beef. Carrots and bell peppers. Now, the carrots and the bell peppers are more of just kind of adding their flavor. I use green bell peppers for money, red bell peppers for, like, if I'm trying to get rid of someone or fire or root chakra energy. I use orange and yellow bell peppers if I'm orange for creation, sacral chakra, creational energy. But I use yellow bell peppers if I'm wanting to work with the solar plexus, or bring in that extra light, to bring in that hope energy, the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, if you were not wanting the beef, broccoli is, to me, I feel very strong. So I use the broccoli for strength. The corn, because corn can be so abundant, and when I have always tried to grow corn, um, it just seems to just shoot up out of the ground, like ready to grow. So I feel like corn to me represents vitality and the willingness to grow. Okay. And then carrots for me is all about, because they say carrots are good for the eyes. I always use carrots to basically keep my eye on the goal, to keep my eye on the ball in that metaphorical sense. Like, I'm keeping my eye on the goal, and I'm going to manifest that. Now, this beef stew recipe, the herbs are you're only, because there's so many different herbs that are being used in spices. You do not want to add in a whole lot of herbs because there are just so many herbs. And I want to also add, forgot to add cayenne pepper and paprika. Cayenne pepper and paprika are, to me, used as amplifiers, but also for banishing, banishing energy. Okay. Um, so what I do is I take the herbs, and I only do a 1/2 of like 1 tablespoon of each. 1 tablespoon of every spice. Okay, you don't want to add more than a tablespoon unless you like spice more of the herbs and spices. The potatoes are the base for the ingredients that you eat. So the potatoes are one of that's the base, and you need about, I like to use anywhere between 9 to 12 um, russet potatoes, or just those spud potatoes, and I chop those up into whatever I feel. And I want to give you guys a pro tip. As you're cutting up these vegetables, you could also put the intention that you're cutting up your problems, that you're cutting them and getting rid of them. It's a good way to exercise cutting cords in that sense, and ingesting that intention that you are cutting the cord. So that's a good way to use the knife in the kitchen, that you're cutting out people or places or just energy that no longer serves you. Um, Garlic and onion is they're more of a semi base. The I would only use, I'm doing the potatoes. After 9 or 12 potatoes, I throw those in. I then throw in my herbs and my spices, and I then throw in. Um, I do one whole onion, and I actually prefer to have them as like the slices, not the dice. I prefer the slices, and then I would add in. I like to use 3 bulbs of garlic because garlic is so good against cancer. It's really, really good. Same with onions. Onions are also good against cancer cells. So then what I do is after I don't chop the garlic. I just peel the garlic and throw it in there. I'd prefer not to chop it. That's just my preference. But you can chop it if you don't want to have the whole cloves, and um, you slice your carrots, add those in, and if you're getting the long carrot things in the pack, I would say about 2 or 3 of those really long carrot sticks. That should be good enough for the soup, for the stew. And if depending on if you're wanting to work with the heart chakra, root chakra, sacral, or solar plexus, you would choose the bell pepper in accordance to that chakra. Now, for me, I would get 1 red pepper, 1 red bell pepper, 1 orange bell pepper, 1 yellow, and 1 green to work with the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the heart chakra. Okay, and then I would add, if you're not adding in the beef, you'd add in broccoli and then corn. Um, then you add in your water, and I like to turn the crock pot on medium or low, and I like to let it cook overnight. And because I usually do my cooking at night, and then I go to bed, and it's like I set the intention I'm going to sleep, and I don't worry about it until the next day. So you got to make sure that your potatoes are very tender. Same with all the vegetables. You want to make sure that when you cut them open, they just kind of fall apart. I prefer that, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, I want to go back to an item that I have in this recipe um, of spices and herbs, and that is the rose petals. I know that seems kind of weird. Like, why would you put rose petals? Rose petals are not considered a spice. I personally have to go back to a story that um, a story of a cooking incident that really it was just a stroke of imagination, and I didn't think that I would ever consider doing it again. But I was doing roasted potatoes, and I added in rose petals and hyssop, and I also added in mugwort, like the mugwort itself and the leaves, right? So I added the mugwort, I put in the rose petals, and I put in hyssop, and then I put olive oil at the base, and make sure it's all good, and then I put the diced potatoes on top. I put oil over it, and then I did the salt and the pepper, and I threw it in the oven. It was on 350 for about an hour and 35 minutes before I checked it. And I will kid you not, when I bit into the rose petal herbs, it's almost like they kind of tasted like chips, if that makes any sense. I mean, it tasted really good to me. Now, I don't recommend eating a spoonful, but the potatoes were so like when I ate them, my whole day seemed to get really better. Now, hyssop is a purification herb. Rose petals and hyssop, frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon were all a lot used in the Bible, a lot. So and then olive oil too. So it's like, for me, I think this is why I love making stuff from sacred texts, because they knew what they were doing, and when I ate these potatoes, everything just seemed to like be positive. Now I will warn you, because this was my mistake, is I put a lot of mugwort, and it did cause me to have transcendental experiences. So be careful. I mean, it's not like, it depends on the amount that you use. I prefer to, however, use mugwort, a lot of mugwort when it comes to the potatoes, because not only that, but I just really love the flavor. It's just really interesting. Now, here is a money guacamole spell. I actually call it the Lucky 7 guacamole. Um, I'm just. Uh, okay. Sorry, I just needed to make sure I was reading that right. Okay, and I was writing some stuff down. Okay, so the reason why it's called Lucky 7 guacamole, I'm gonna put Lucky 7 guacamole, is because there are just 7 ingredients. Okay, so I take 9 avocados. Take out the seed. I either use the seed as a dye or I plant them. Then I do sea salt, oregano. The spices is sea salt, oregano, grounded mustard seed, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and paprika. And you only want to use, for the sea salt, the oregano, the black pepper, the cayenne pepper, and the paprika, you only want a half a tablespoon. You don't want it to overpower your avocado, the guacamole. And then I just do 3 pinches of ground mustard. Sea salt is to cleanse. Money to cleanse any monetary problems. And oregano is a money herb, like I said before. Mustard seeds, grounded mustard, that's all about faith, belief, and trust. And black pepper is used for banishing I use it in this case for banishing misfortune. And cayenne pepper and paprika are not only used to amplify the energy working of this Lucky 7 guacamole, but also to banish again, burn away your obstacles, burn away your money problems, and to just bring in that money. Now, Um, Get out of my house, leave me be. I send thee away from me. With my power and with my will, I send thee return thee back to sender. Thank you. Dragon fruit. Now, this is a recipe for just plain old positivity, and the ingredients in here are just super, super beneficial to your body. So what I do is I use dragon fruit. Now, if dragon fruit is not in season, I use cantaloupe or honeydew instead. Then I take lime, mango, papaya, coconut shreds, and kiwi. Now, if you don't have kiwi, I use passion fruit, and if I don't have passion fruit, I just add more papaya and mango. Now, what I like to do is I take, and if you don't have like papaya, mango, kiwi, or passion fruit, you can use peaches and apples instead. But I don't really like to use that. But let me just give you the recipe and then we'll go from there. So what I do is I take 3 dragon fruit and put that into the blender I'm going to use. Then I squeeze 1 lemon juice. I squeeze it and I save the seeds. I make sure to save the seeds because. Then I take mangoes. I take at least 1 mango and 1 papaya, and then if I feel really drawn to, I do add more. But let's just say it's for a base: 1 mango, 1 papaya. Then I do a half a cup of coconut shreds, and then 1 kiwi fruit, and that's pretty much it. Now the dragon fruit has so many good things that I cannot even begin to know where to begin to start. But if we're looking at it from the metaphysical side, dragon energy represents strength. It represents protection. It represents wealth, because dragons like to collect wealth. So wealth or protection. Lemons are for purification. Mangoes and papayas are all about positive and happiness, positivity and happiness. Same with kiwis. Now, if you're wanting to use passion fruit, that's more to bring forth a passionate, positive, so it's more about passion than anything. And then for coconuts, I usually use that to kind of mellow out the energy, to make it really calm and kind of like go with the flow, And that's pretty much the recipe, and you just blend it up and you just serve it to yourself. That's pretty much it. Now, so my last recipe is again my roasted potato recipe. And what I do is I line the bottom with a layer of olive oil. I put in a very thin layer of hyssop and rose petals, and I take 3 bushels of mugwort because I just love mugwort. Now I use about, if I have 3, I would use 1 at the base, 1.5 at the base, and then when you put the potatoes in, use the 1.5 bushel of leaves, and you put that in between the potatoes, like you fill it in, and you then do your olive oil again, and you then put it in the oven. No, forgot one thing. Before you put it in the oven, you put in your salt, your pepper. Now, if you want to make it spicy, you could do cayenne pepper, paprika. That's on you. That's your preference. And then you put it in the oven for 350 for an hour. And then I usually, if I feel like it needs to go on for another 30 minutes to an hour, I just check it. But I would recommend to check it every 30 minutes because, you definitely want to check your potatoes, make sure you don't burn them, and that's what I do for that. Now, there is another recipe that I do, but I'm gonna save that for another time, and I wish you all the best of luck. I hope these recipes bring you a lot of love, positivity, joy, and all good things into your life. These recipes are, especially the cold and flu honey mixture that I was talking about and the beef stew, those are my main things that I love to eat during the fall. Um, because it's very versatile. You can use it for a lot of things. And then the Lucky Seven guacamole is a good recipe, especially if you're trying to if you're hosting a party or say like a fundraiser, right? And say it's like a potluck, and you and a random, it's like a potluck where everyone comes and brings food, and you have raffles or whatever, right? And you're fundraising for something. You could have this Lucky Seven um, guacamole, and it could help make people more generous for the fundraiser that you're trying to support, or if you're trying to just spread that luck and that positivity to your friends and family for like a party and a get together, you're more than able to do that. Use that recipe for that, or if you're just wanting it as a good snack, the coffee, the this coffee recipe, the coffee, chamomile tea, the cinnamon and ginger, that recipe I call the prosperous morning brew, and I should put the title right next to it. Morning brew, and this is to help make your morning and afternoon very prosperous. And then let's see, the dragon fruit smoothie, that really is just to bring in positivity, and just like it's got so many good things in it. I just can't begin to describe, tell you all the good stuff. But I hope that helps you guys. Next time I come on here with for another Kitchen Witch video, I will do the potato. Well, I think I said already. I think I already did the roasted potato. Yes, I did do the roasted potato. Now, the more mugwort you have in the thing, the more likely you're gonna have a very transcendental experience. So be careful with the mugwort. I personally use 3 bushels is because I want to use it for transcendental experiences. That's how it reacted to me. Now I have one last recipe that I want to give to you guys, and it's a recipe that I use. I know that in certain states you cannot get marijuana unless you have a medical marijuana card, so make sure to follow your state's guidelines. Okay. So this marijuana recipe, it's more so for when you're doing if you're having a party that's not a party. I don't want to use that word. If you're having trouble with tapping into the spirit world, marijuana, or aka cannabis, mushrooms, and things like that are very helpful with opening you up. Now, mind you, this recipe is going to be strong. You do not need to drink a whole lot of this. So don't drink a cup and then wait a little bit, wait an hour, and then if you don't feel anything, do another cup, okay? Now, this is more of if you're trying to connect to the goddess Hecate or Hestia. Any like goddess that you're trying to connect to, especially Greek and Roman pantheon. Now, you could use this for other deities, but I found it to be really good with working with Hecate or Freya even or Pestia. Okay, so what you do is you take cannabis. I usually go with what I'm feeling. My main thing is 3 cups of the buds, and I put the burner on low, and I put the mineral water in, and I put the cannabis in, and I let it simmer throughout the day. What I do is I use 3 cups of water for 1 cup of marijuana um, equals 1 cup of water. So I basically 3 cups of marijuana, 3 cups of water. Okay. Um, then what I do is while that is boiling, I have specified music or mantras or invocations playing in the background, frequency music, and I prepare a special dish for the goddess. In this case, I'm going to use my goddess Hecate as an example. And say it'd be like beef stew or something, like whatever it is, you just throw something together, and it's your intention that matters. And then what you do is about that. Make sure to routinely check on your um, cannabis tea, because you're going to need that cannabis tea for something else. It's not to drink. So get this. Um, what I like to do is if I'm doing cookies, right, I like to use water, cannabis water, and then I add in, chocolate chips, and I add in my cookie dough, and then I take those chocolate chips, that cookie, and I eat them. Now, I know there's a much simpler process, but this is how I do it. There are other recipes where you can get make marijuana butter or marijuana cookies. Like there are easier recipes, but this is just how I do it. And what I like to do is I use lemon juice or lime juice, a little bit of little citrus in it to just bring that all together and happy energy. So that's just how I use it. But you don't have to follow this recipe. It was just a nice tidbit that I wanted to share. Um, I do believe in the medical benefits of marijuana, and as someone who's mentally disabled, it really does help me get through my day to day. Now, of course, I don't have the luxury of buying cannabis. I am having other methods at this time until I get my medical marijuana card. And once I have my medical marijuana card, I will then go out and get cannabis. But I want to actually see if you, with a medical marijuana card, to see if you're allowed to grow your own cannabis, but that's some research I have to do. Anyway, with love, hugs, and kisses to all of you beautiful, amazing souls, magical blessings. Until next time.